the attack on America raised so many questions. Among them, questions about the dangers of the new world economy. Is terrorism the dark side of globalization?
Up until September 11th, there was a sense that this movement towards globalization really was irreversible. And since then, there's a recognition that things can go in another direction.
Can our deeply interconnected world deliver prosperity to everyone?
And that's basically the next big challenge, is making this interdependent world of ours, on balance, far more positive and negative. And the extent to which we succeed in doing that will determine whether the 21st century is either marred by terrorism of all kinds, or whether it becomes the most peaceful and prosperous and interesting time the world's ever known.
This is the story of how the new global economy was born. The story of a century-long battle of ideas to determine who would control the commanding heights of the economy, central governments or free markets. In the 1990s, a worldwide capitalist revolution fueled the new era of globalization, the greatest expansion of world trade in history.
Millions of people a day are better off than they would have been without globalization, and very few people have been harmed by it.
But with the promise came a debate about the impact of globalization.
Should the world's wealthiest people really dictate how the world's economy is going to run?
Tonight, the battle over who should write the new rules of the game for the global economy. For the first time, an Asian economic miracle was in trouble. By early 1997, Southeast Asia's rapid economic boom was overheating. Siravat Vorovit was one of many who thought the good times would never end.
Just buying apartments and condominiums, just like they were gambling. They were tempted by this easy money. They were tempted by this easy profit.
During the 90s, Thailand had opened up its capital markets. For the first time, local businesses could borrow money from foreign banks, which offered lower interest rates.
People would come and knock on your door and plead with you to borrow money, be they European banks or Japanese banks. They came and begged us to borrow from them.
In just 4 years, loans to Thai businesses had tripled to over $200 billion. American and European governments encouraged the inflow of money.
Oh yeah, we were strong advocates of opening up capital markets and the benefits that could flow therefrom. But we were also strong advocates at the same time, because we recognized the Thai, of developing the banking systems, developing the capital markets, and developing regulatory systems, none of which is easy.
And there was an underlying flaw in the system that people really didn't focus very much on, which was the institutional weakness. What that meant is that the banking systems were not well developed, the securities laws were not well developed, they had not kept up with the development of these economies and their integration into the world economy.
Thailand's central bank had kept its currency artificially high, fueling the speculative bubble. The International Monetary Fund, which acts as a bank of last resort to countries in financial trouble, began to worry that Thailand was heading for a fall.
I went to Bangkok in May 1997. It was full of cranes everywhere, and it looked like the boom would never end. but there were very weak banks who were lending against the security of those buildings which were never going to be filled.
Muang Thong Thani was a sign of the times, a new city built from scratch for 700,000 people. It was meant to be bigger than Boston, but almost no one was moving in.
The vision was great. The vision was to take this huge tract of land and build a city, basically, between the downtown congested Bangkok and the airport. So the concept was excellent. The problem was that it was financed to a great degree by US dollars.
Thailand's currency, known as the baht, was pegged to the dollar. As the Thai economy weakened, financial markets sensed this policy couldn't last.
Thailand had fixed the value of its currency in terms of dollars. It had a fixed exchange rate. And as people began to wonder, well, do they actually have enough dollars to always be able to give me dollars in exchange for the baht, the Thai currency I have? And when they begin to wonder about that, they start asking for the dollars.
The central bank kept on saying, no, we will support the currency at this fixed rate. And of course, they were shelling out the US dollars to protect the currency. So their foreign reserves were dwindling. And of course, any hedge fund manager looking at that would say, hey, these guys are going to be in trouble, and I'm going to short the Thai baht.
The baht came under relentless market pressure. In July 1997, the Thai government was forced to devalue. The bubble had burst. The Asian financial crisis was about to begin.
Okay, here we are. When it hit, I realized my fate. I could not sell a single unit when the crisis hit.
This was my most expensive model unit. Now no more doors, all decorations, materials gone.
My condominium is called American Dream Home Dream Condominium. But we are broke. Even my clients who were multi-billionaire broke also.
The economic shock reverberated through all levels of Thai society.
When the economy went bad, my husband's salary was cut 30%. I was lucky. I kept my job, but I didn't get a rest. To support our family, my husband had to find other work. Every morning, he drives a motorcycle taxi. The cost of living was rising. Everything was going up: water, electricity, even soap. But the salaries were staying the same, or even going down.
With its economy in a virtual free fall, Thailand received an emergency rescue loan from the International Monetary Fund. When that didn't work, the Thai government asked Washington for even more help. No one imagined that an economy as small as Thailand's could spark a global crisis.
Thailand is a very small economy. It doesn't have a lot of links, and it's not exactly in your backyard. In any event, the U.S. chose not to intervene in Thailand, thinking it was not going to spill over. Why would it? The contagion effects were not apparent to anybody, not just the administration.
I think they misjudged the situation. And probably because it was seen too much as a financial issue rather than an overall strategic issue.
Global markets worried that other Asian countries might have similar hidden flaws. Like a classic run on the bank, money began to pull out of the entire region. They called it
Thailand is a thriving nation in the Indochina Peninsula and with Bangkok as its capital and largest city. The beautiful beaches and islands of Thailand attract millions of tourists from across the globe each year. It has an economy that is highly dependent on export that counts for over two-thirds of the nation's GDP. They closed at a GDP growth rate of 4.1% in 2018. They stand second in Southeast Asia in terms of largest economy. It boasts of being one of the countries that has the lowest rate of unemployment in the world, which is 1.1%. Its GDP rank is 26th and 20th in nominal and PPP respectively on as per the International Monetary Fund Standards, 2018. It has the 43rd freest economy in 2019 index. After 2016, the military government of Thailand initiated Thailand 4.0 and made plans to bring up Thailand to a high-income nation in 5 years. Thailand 1.0 is explained as agriculture-based Thailand. Thailand 2.0 then took over and the economy of the nation moved to textiles, light industries and food processing. Thailand 3.0 is known as the present state of Thailand, which is booming with big industries. Thailand 4.0 is envisioned as a country whose economy will be led by innovation and high technology that will produce value-added products and services. Industries. A little more than 80% of the firms in Thailand were small and medium enterprises, SMEs, in 2017. Its main agricultural products are rice, coconuts, sugarcane, corn, tapioca, soybeans and rubber. It has a thriving fish industry and currently stands 8th in terms of highest production of fish/seafood. The automotive industry of Thailand was the largest in Southeast Asia in the year 2017. The huge industry employs millions of workers, but recently a large percentage of employees are at a risk of losing their job because of automation in this industry. Thailand is also rich in minerals and is one of the highest producers of gypsum. They have liberalized their foreign investment policies to encourage foreign companies invest in Thailand. Electrical and electronics industry of Thailand is its largest export sector with millions of people employed in several industries. Rule of law. Although the judiciary system of Thailand is effective, it has been critiqued to be politically influenced. The property rights in the country are quite in place. The process for registration of properties has been made easier and the implementation of contracts is not burdensome. However, there still exists excessive forgery of property documents, which is a big problem for the actual property owners. Corruption is prevalent in business areas, but most citizens consider it to be a part of doing business. Thailand present. January 2019 saw exports of Thailand drop down by 5.65%. The trade dispute between America and China has also affected the outbound shipments of Thailand. While their exports to China went down, their sales to America has grown by 8.3%. The Thai government expects its sales to grow by 8% for this financial year.
Recently, the World Bank published a special report on the performances of East Asian economies. Thailand is one of the countries which have progressed the most. Our correspondent, Khun Temsiri Grisanawanit, has more.
From the recent World Bank report, Rating the Wealth and East Asia for the 21st century, Thailand was grouped in the progressively prosperous category. Compared to the international poverty line, the country has succeeded in eliminating extreme poverty, while increasing the number of people in the middle-income bracket. Thailand has many of the necessary factors, including infrastructure and industries, required to drive further growth.
Thailand has got a very good base. So the three things that will essentially be good for the middle class agenda. One of them is to do with education and skills. And if you look at quality of services, it will be good to make sure that the quality of schools, hospitals, infrastructure, logistics are similar across space.
As middle-income earners are vital for strong economic growth, the World Bank has provided 3 suggestions to promote growth in the number of middle-income earners. They are economic mobility, the provision of economic security, and the strengthening of institutions. These policies would help Thailand's growth as an inclusive economy, while reducing disparities in the country. From World Bank's perspective, Thailand still has potential to develop further, and to achieve this target, we need good plans to support economic growth. The Office of Thailand's National Economic and Social Development Board, which plays a key role in the country's economic planning, said that the World Bank's suggestions are in line with Thailand's economic master plan, as we share the same goals. Thailand already has both short and long-term plans to provide a better life for people, increasing the middle class, achieving more growth, and reducing the inequality gap.
For the short term, I think some welfare measure will be needed. Right now, the government have the targeting the poor people to the registration of the poor, so that we have more data and can design appropriate measure to help them. The longer term to help people in the low-income group, I think to be able to have more economic mobility, namely have more opportunity to gain more income and move up above poverty line and then become the middle income class.
What Thailand needs is continuity through policies and measures for growing the economy as a long-term goal. I am Temsiri Kisanawanit, reporting for NBT World.
Here's what you see in photos, and here's what you see in real life. Once upon a time, some 30 years ago, Thailand had very few tourists. It was clean, authentic, and untouched, kind of like how Bhutan is today. But now, Bangkok is the world's most visited city, and Thailand attracts more than 35 million outsiders every year. What's up guys, we are now heading into the Grand Palace of Bangkok, the most touristy site here in Thailand. While mass tourism may have its benefits, like pumping $100 billion annually into Thailand's economy, there are 5 major downfalls that have come as a result. High prices, sketchy scams, ruined nature, animal cruelty, and prostitution. Let's dig a little deeper. 1. Expensive prices. Aside from Singapore, I find Thailand to be the most expensive country in Southeast Asia. Since my first visit here 5 years ago, I've noticed prices rising and rising, especially near beaches or in big cities. While street food and taxis remain cheap, things like dining at restaurants and staying at a decent hotel are getting out of control. 2. Sketchy scams. As a tourist, it's hard to walk around Bangkok for an evening and not be a target or a victim of a scam. The most common are the tuk-tuk scam and the ping pong show scam. Both will invite you inside for a very cheap price, like 100 baht. Is this a ping pong show? Yes, sir. How much? 100 baht, yeah. And then you'll be hit hard with a bigger payment that you're forced to pay. 3. Ruined nature. Thailand's natural beauty is quickly being destroyed by all the pollution, like plastic. In Bangkok alone, more than 600,000 plastic bags are used every day. Dozens of Thai islands have transformed into party playgrounds for young adults, and they are covered in trash. 4. Animal cruelty. Thailand is notorious for treating animals poorly at elephant sanctuaries and tiger kingdoms for the enjoyment of tourists. A few years ago, one famous tiger temple was raided and taken down after proof of drugged-up tigers. I realize that this video seemed negative about Thailand, but I want to highlight the extreme impacts that mass tourism can bring, not only to this country, but to many others around the world. The situation just happens to be the most severe